As long as my country is here and I'm still alive, I will keep writing music for my country.
So first of all, thank you, Danilo, for permitting this interview when you're so tired after your trip. First of all, how was your trip? It was good?
It was good. I'm excited to be here. As we were talking, I was here 2 times before and I have great memories of being here.
Yeah. I think first in 1996 and then in 2006, if I recall.
First
But-
time with my trio and second time with the Wayne Shorter Quartet. And I remember that concert, it was like levitation, like flying on the, it was special.
I'm curious, how did your relationship with jazz music begin?
Jazz found me early. Through the sounds of the street in Panama, we have a long history with jazz. Panama is a really important place. It's a port of exchange, and it started from many years ago. I would say that I grew up in jazz, even though I didn't know the history of Panama is very linked to jazz, and our history is very attached to the geographical position and the strategic part of Panama as a point of reference. It was a place where became the port of entry for a lot of the Caribbean migration. So in the mid of the 19th century, Panama was already exchanging with the United States about this music, and actually the beginning of deep music, pre-jazz, jazz. So Panama had a very important role. I just didn't know about it in depth, but I did grow up with tambo jazz. I listened to something called tambo jazz, and my father played me records by Louis Armstrong. So jazz was a part. My neighbor used to play loud jazz, man. I mean, used to play like Freddie Hobart, George Benson, Miles Davis, and I got to listen to a lot of music, and I got to listen to and digest a lot of music from a style of music we call tambo jazz, which is a mixture of jazz with tamborito, a folkloric.
So in a certain way, jazz was always around you.
It found me.
Yeah.
It found me, and I remember listening to a track, a salsa track by Ñañara Caí, by Papo Luca from Puerto Rico, and that solo at 6 years old grabbed me, and that solo has a little bit of bebop, a little bit of blues, I was fascinated, and I didn't even know how to play the piano, and I learned finger by finger that solo, So I grew up in music. My dad was a singer, and I grew up around some great orchestras, He was a fan of Perucci, and a lot of the great pianists from Cuba too also. Panama, Cuba, Papo Luca, Puerto Rico, and the whole scene in Panama, Victor Boa, Bat Gordon. So I grew up in that. I didn't know. You know what I figured out that I needed to learn more about it? When I joined Roy Haynes. He gave me a test, and he said, Danilo, I'm gonna give you 3 choices, true or false. Who gave me my first gig in New York? And I said, I know that answer. Charlie Parker. He goes, false. I say, Lester Young. He say, false. I said, Sarah Bond. He said, false, man. He was a Panamanian by the name of Luis Rosso. You gotta learn your history.
But as a solo artist, you collaborated with names like Dizzy Gillespie, Wayne Shorter, and you're also a Grammy Awarded musician, composer. How does a musician from Panama becomes one of the most creative forces in contemporary jazz? You told us about this environment you grew up, but what does it take in a place like Panama to get where you are now?
I think mentorship. Mentorship is very important. I was privileged to have good mentors. My first piano teacher was a great teacher. She was from Chile, Cecilia Nunez. Then there was another mentor, Edgardo Quintero. In Panama, I had some great mentors, starting with actually my father, because my father was hip. My father taught me mathematics through music. He was like, 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. And 8 is 16. So I was open-minded, you know. So then, Dizzy Gillespie, Roy Haynes, Wayne Shorter, my piano teacher in New York, Egna Golansky, Donald Brown, who plays with Art Blake. I was surrounded amazing mentors. So I would say mentorship, curiosity, a love for music, passion for music, a compulsive behavior. I have a compulsive behavior. I get into the sounds of the music and I disappear from this world.
And talking about your roots, that's where comes the Panamanian style of jazz composition that you're famous for. Was it something you wanted to implement since the beginning of your musical creation, or did it just happen naturally? It found you like jazz found you before?
Yes, I think it was naturally. We grew up in the 70s in Panama with the amazing dream of the Canal of Panama, the Panama Canal returning to us. So we were the generation of the canal back to us. So I sang music every week with the dream of having Panama back, the canal. So my connection was very from the point of view of nationalistic ideas. And my mother was a social activist. She was very involved with the revolution in Panama. So I think I was nurtured in that environment. So I was looking for a way, since I was a kid, I always look at the Bridge of the Americas and the Panama Canal and I would say, I wonder what would be the soundtrack of that.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to write the soundtrack of that. And, I started to envision, since the 90s, writing music that had a Panamanian component, a Panamanian style of composition, using the forms from our country, using the rhythms and the melodic turns to bring it to jazz. I was already doing that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. More open question now. What's your vision of the jazz music being made today? And what can we expect of the future of jazz? Since we live in a controversial time right now, where creation seems to be in danger and where we're obsessed with this constant reproduction of the old models, a kind of retromania we're living in. Is it still possible to create the new in terms of creation?
As long as we are dealing with human beings, I think there is a natural place that we can go when we are challenged. There is a resistance right now going on that empower creativity and artistry in every sectors, in the writing and the books and all the art forms. I think this is the time to make a position. This is the time to exercise what we know how to do, and to bring bring our art to the forefront, so we can reimagine a new society, a new world, and that's our duty. I've taken this like this. That's why I tell you I've been in the road, and I've taken that we are in therapeutic times of the art. It might not be the entertaining times of the art, but it is arts as therapy. And I think all of us should come to the forefront and answer that call that we're having, the urgent times. Everybody who's an artist, sign on. We have work to do. That's it.
Thank you so much.
You got a lot in there, right?
A lot.